The image of the witch, a mysterious figure wielding supernatural power, has haunted and fascinated humanity for millennia. Witches appear across nearly every culture, often associated with magic, healing, the unseen forces of nature, and Halloween. While modern portrayals of witches often draw from folklore and fiction, their origins lie in ancient religious practices, social fears, and shifting ideas about good and evil. Tracing the history of witches reveals how this concept evolved from revered spiritual figures to symbols of fear and persecution. The earliest ideas of witchcraft can be traced back to ancient civilizations such as Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece. In Mesopotamian texts dating back as far as 2000 BCE, magic was seen as a natural part of life used both for protection and harm. The Sumerians and Babylonians believed that sorcerers could use incantations and potions to influence gods and spirits. Clay tablets describe rituals to combat malevolent witches, suggesting that witchcraft was both feared and believed to be real. Egyptian magicians and healers performed spells and made charms to cure illness or ward off evil spirits. Similarly, in ancient Greece and Rome, figures like the sorceress or poisoner appeared in myths. The Greek goddess Hecate, for instance, was associated with magic, the moon, and crossroads, symbols that later became central to witchcraft traditions. During the early Middle Ages, the concept of witchcraft changed dramatically under the influence of Christianity. The early church condemned pagan rituals, labeling them as heresy and associating them with the devil. What had once been folk healing or nature-based spirituality was now considered sinful. By the 13th century, European society increasingly viewed witches as individuals who made pacts with Satan in exchange for power. The infamous witch hunts of the 15th to 17th centuries were fueled by fear, religious tension, and superstition. Publications from this time claimed witches could fly, summon demons, and harm others through curses. Tens of thousands of people, mostly women, were executed across Europe and later in colonial America during events such as the Salem witch trials in 1692. Outside of Europe, witchcraft held different meanings. In many African, Native American, and indigenous cultures, witches or shamans were spiritual intermediaries who healed the sick or communicated with ancestors. For example, in West African traditions, witchcraft could represent both protective and harmful spiritual powers. In these contexts, the label witch did not always carry the same negative connotation found in Europe. In Europe itself, folk healers continued to practice herbal medicine and charms despite persecution. These practices influenced modern conceptions of witchcraft as nature-based spirituality. By the 19th and 20th centuries, witches became symbols of rebellion and independence. Romantic writers and later feminists reimagined witches not as evil, but as misunderstood women with knowledge and power. The rise of neo-pagan religions revived witchcraft as a spiritual path celebrating nature, magic, and personal empowerment. Today, witches appear in popular culture from Macbeth to Harry Potter, representing both ancient mystery and modern identity. Contemporary witchcraft often blends old traditions with modern values of equality and environmentalism. The origins of witches lie deep in humanity's oldest beliefs about magic, nature, and power. From ancient healers and priestesses to persecuted heretics, the witch has continually evolved with society's fears and values. Once symbols of danger, witches now stand as icons of independence and spirituality. Understanding their history reveals not only the transformation of a myth, but also how cultures interpret the mysterious forces that shape human life. Thank you for watching. Liking and subscribing would be appreciated. Once been folk healing or nature-based spiritual blah.